Hi guys. This is going to be for academic ELA 7th grade. This is the last video for before we actually split off between virtual and hybrid. It's going to be lesson 13 for Raisin in the Sun. I'm going to present to you a window. We're going to start without further ado. Hopefully, this is your login page. We're going to go to 7B, character and conflict, subunit 2, a Raisin in the Sun, and we're going to go all the way down to lesson 13, let me tell you. Okay. We're going to go over what happened to the money, because the last thing that we read, we learned that Walter gave the money to Willie and Bobo to still go in with them on this liquor store, and Mama is not happy. So let's go to tab 2, and we're going to reread part of this passage that tells you what Mama says. Listen to me. I say I've been wrong, son. That I've been doing to you what the rest of the world's been doing to you. She turns off the radio. Walter, she stops, he looks up. What you ain't ever understood is that I ain't got nothing, don't own nothing, ain't never really wanted nothing that wasn't for you. There ain't nothing as precious to me. There ain't nothing worth holding on to. Money dreams, nothing else, if it means it's going to destroy my boy. She takes the envelope out of her handbag and puts it in front of him, and he watches her. I paid the third man $3,500. That leaves $6,500. Monday morning, I want you to take this money and take $3,000 and put it in a savings account for Benita's schooling. The rest, you put in a checking account with your name on it. And from now on, any penny that comes out or goes in is for you to look after, for you to decide. It ain't much, but it's all I got in the world, and I'm putting it in your hands. I'm telling you to be the head of this family from now on, like you're supposed to be. Mama gave Walter specific instructions on what he should do with the money. There are 2 choices that best match Mama's instructions. Put $3,000 aside for Benita's schooling. Open a checking account for Benita. Put $3,500 in a checking account and manage the money himself. Put $6,500 in a savings account until Mama gives him further instructions, or open a savings account for his family. So pick 2 that he and she instructed you to hurt him to do. Go back to the reading. Card 2. What did Walter do with this money? She told him to specifically do something with it, but what did he do with it? Just a couple of sentences. Obviously, he didn't do what she told him to. Tab 3. This is going to be for the part where Bobo comes in and tells him that the money is gone. I want to tell you that you need to pay close attention to what Walter says when he says, oh, Willie, where are you? Don't do this to me. I can't believe it. And then down here, he says, that money is made out of my father's flesh. What do these words really mean? Okay, so the money that he gave Bobo and Willie that is now gone because Willie has disappeared. He's so upset. Mama's upset, but he's upset and he says, oh my God, that money was made out of my father's flesh. Think about that. It's not literal, it's figurative. Mama described Big Walter, his father, as somebody who would go and work so hard and then come home and be so tired and so downtrodden and go to work and work so hard and put stuff away and do what he could to get by and continue to support his family. Why would he say that money is made out of my father's flesh? Okay, we're going to go to tab 4. All right, so the character that you're following, pick a character between Benita, Mama, Ruth, or Walter. And then go back in and highlight the lines that show how your character reacts to the loss of the money. If it's Benita, you're going to look for where she is described as fingering the ribbon that came off the hat box, and she's just kind of leaning against the wall. Mama kind of beats the heck out of Walter. She's really upset. Ruth is just horrified and covering her face beneath it, and then Walter is on the floor, really upset as well. So look for the pieces, whichever person that you're looking for, whichever character, and highlight them. Sorry. And then click hand in. Now from that, your wrap up, it's not really a write, but I want you to think about this and put it in several sentences, okay? Now that the money is gone, I think Walter, Benita, Mama, or Ruth will what? So whichever character you chose in tab 4, write about in tab 5, and tell me what you think they're going to do now that the money is gone. Then we're going to go to the exit ticket. What is the figurative meaning behind Walter's statement that money is made out of my father's flesh? A, the money is the amount paid by the life insurance company. B, the loss of money is a loss like the death of his father. C, the money represents his father's life of sacrifices and hard work. Or D, the money represents Walter's hope to have a job like his father. Now think about that. That money's made out of my father's flesh. He went to work every single day. He busted his hind end. He did it every single day. He supported his family. He did it every single day. So what does that mean? A, B, C, or D? Then, number 2, explain how Mama's words in line 237 support this. Gone? What you mean Willie is gone? Right here, that's paragraph 225. We're going to go down to 237. I seen him night after night come in and look at that rug, and then look at me, the red showing in his eye, the veins moving in his head. I seen him grow thin and old before he was 40, working and working and working like somebody's old horse, killing himself. And you give it all away in a day? So how do those words that she just said support the idea of what the money represents? And then hand that in. Okay, now we're going to go to the solo. And in the solo, it is Act 3, an hour later. I'm going to read this to you, and then we're going to go through the questions. At curtain, there is a sullen light of gloom in the living room, gray light, not unlike that which began the first scene of Act 1. At last, we can see Walter within his room alone. He's stretched out on the bed, his shirt out and open, his arms under his head. He does not smoke, he does not cry out, he merely lies there looking up at the ceiling, much as if he were alone in the world. In the living room, Benita sits at the table, still surrounded by now almost ominous packing crates. She sits looking off. We feel that this is a mood struck perhaps an hour before, and it lingers, full of the empty sound of profound disappointment. We see, on a line from her brother's bedroom, the sameness of their attitudes. Presently, the bell rings and Benita rises without ambition or interest in answering it. It's Asagai, smiling broadly, striding into the room with energy and happy expectation and conversation. Asagai says, I came over. I had some free time. I thought I might help you with the packing. I like the look of the packing crates. A household in preparation for a journey. It depresses some people, but for me, it is another feeling, something full of the flow of life. Do you understand? Movement, progress. It makes me think of Africa. Africa, Benita says. What kind of mood is this? Asagai says. Have I told you how deeply you move me? He gave away the money, Asagai, Benita says. Who gave away the money? Who gave away what money? Asagai says. The insurance money. My brother gave it away. Gave it away? He made an investment with a man even Travis wouldn't have trusted with his most worn out marbles. So she's alluding to the fact that he gave money to a person that he should have known was gonna stiffen. And it's gone? Gone. I'm very sorry. And you now? Me? Me, I'm nothing. Me, when I was very small, we used to take our sleds out in the wintertime, and the only hills we had were the ice-covered stone steps of some houses down the street. And we used to fill them in with snow and make them smooth and slide down them all day. And it was very dangerous, far too steep. And sure enough, one day, a kid named Rufus came down too fast and hit the sidewalk, and we saw his face just split open right there in front of us. And I remember standing there looking at his bloody open face, thinking that was the end of Rufus. But the ambulance came, and they took him to the hospital, and they fixed the broken bones, and they sewed it all up. And the next time I saw Rufus, he just had a little line down the middle of his face. I never got over that. What? Asagai said. That was what one person could do for another. Fix him up, sew up the problem, made him all right. That was the most marvelous thing in the world. I wanted to do that. I always thought it was the one concrete thing in the world that a human being could do. Fix up the sick, and make them whole again. It was truly being God. You wanted to be God? No, I wanted to cure. It used to be so important to me. I wanted to cure. It used to matter. I used to care. About people and how their bodies hurt. You've stopped caring? Yeah, I think so. Why? Because it doesn't seem deep enough, close enough to what ails mankind. It was a child's way of seeing things, or an idealist. Children see things very well sometimes, Asagai says, and idealists even better. Okay, so idealists look at things and they make them as positive as possible. Okay, so idealists are always the positive people, and the realist could be arguably considered pessimists, but they're not. Realists they try and be real about what the situation is. This is exactly the way that it is. Okay. Benita says, I know that's what you think, because you're still where I left off. You, with all your talk and dreams about Africa, you still think you can patch up the world, cure the great sore of colonialism with the penicillin of independence. Yes, Asagai says. Independence, and then what? Benita says. What about all the crooks, excuse me, and thieves and just plain idiots who will come into power and steal and plunder the same as before? Only now they'll be black and do it in the name of new independence. What about them? So she's talking about that there's people everywhere, and she's dealing with this huge racism like the rest of her people. But then the rest of her people turn on themselves, on each other. And what about that? Asagai says, that will be the problem for another time. First, we must get there. And where does it end, Benita says? End? We haven't spoke of an end. To life? To living? An end to misery, to stupidity. Don't you see there isn't any real progress, Asagai? There's only one large circle that we march in, around and around, each of us with our own little picture in front of us, our own little mirage that we think is the future. That is the mistake, Asagai says. What? What you just said about the circle. It isn't a circle. It's simply a long line, as in geometry, one that reaches into infinity. And because we cannot see the end, we also cannot see how it changes. And it is very odd that those who see the changes, who dream, who will not give up, are called idealists. And those who see only the circle, we call them realists. Asagai, while I was sleeping in that bed in there, people went out and took the future right out of my hands. And nobody asked me. Nobody consulted me. They just went out and changed my life. Was it your money? Asagai says. What? Was it your money he gave away? It belonged to all of us, Benita says. But did you earn it? Would you have had it at all if your father hadn't died? No. Then isn't there something wrong in a house in a world where all dreams, good or bad, must depend on the death of a man? I never thought to see you like this, Alayo. Your brother made a mistake, and you're grateful to him. You're grateful to him so that now you can give up the ailing human race on account of it? You talk about what good is struggle and what good is anything. Where are we all going and why are we all bothering? And you cannot answer it. I live the answer. In my village at home, it is the exceptional man who can even read a newspaper, or whoever sees a book at all. I'll go home, and much of what I will have to say will seem strange to the people in my village, but I'll teach and work, and things will happen slowly and swiftly. At times, it will seem that nothing changes at all, and then again, the sudden dramatic events which make history leap into the future, and then quiet again. Retrogression even, guns, murder, revolution. And I even will have moments when I wonder if the quiet was not better than all that death and hatred, but I will look about my village at the illiteracy and disease and ignorance, and I will not wander long. And perhaps I'll be a great man. I mean, perhaps I'll hold on to the substance of truth and find my ways always with the right course. And perhaps, for I will be butchered in my own bed some night by the servants of an empire. Ah, the martyr, he smiles. Or perhaps I shall live to be a very old man, respected and esteemed in my new nation. And perhaps I shall hold office, and this is what I'm trying to tell you, Eliyo. Perhaps the things I believe now for my country will be wrong and outmoded by then, and I will not understand and do terrible things to have things my way or merely to keep my power. Don't you see that there will be young men and women, not British soldiers then, but my own black countrymen, to step out of the shadows some evening and slit my then useless throat? Don't you see they have always been there, that they will always be there, and that such a thing as my own death will be in advance? They who might kill me even actually replenish all that I have. Okay, so let me just speak on this. Asagai is saying that he wants her to understand that there's always going to be people that see things differently. There's always going to be people that do things differently. It's not a circle. It's a line that goes on forever and ever. Because generations keep coming, they make advancements and they make retrogression, meaning that they take 2 steps back. There's going to be things that come up that haven't ever come up before in a different way, and people will go back at each other, but it doesn't mean that you should give up on humanity. Oh, Asagai, I know all that. Good, then stop moaning and groaning and tell me what you plan to do. Do? I have a suggestion, Asagai says. What? Then when it's all over, that you come home with me. She stares at him. Oh, Asagai, at this moment you decide to be romantic? Asagai, quickly understanding the misunderstanding. My dear young creature of the New World, I do not mean across the city. I mean across the ocean, home to Africa. Slowly understanding, she turns to him and says, to Africa? Asagai says, yes. Smiling and lifting his arms playfully, 300 years later, the African prince rose up out of the seas and swept the maiden back across the middle passage over which her ancestors had come. Benita says, to Nigeria? Nigeria, home. Coming to her with genuine romantic flippancy. I will show you our mountains and our stars and give you cool drinks from gourds and teach you the old songs and the ways of our people. And in time, we will pretend that you have only been away for a day. Say that you'll come. He swings her around and takes her full in his arms in a kiss which proceeds to passion. Beneath, pulling away. You're getting me all mixed up. Why? Asagai says. Too many things have happened today. I have to sit down and think. I don't know what I feel about anything right this minute. She promptly sits down and props her chin on her face. On her fist, sorry. Asagai, all right, I shall leave you. No, don't get up. Just sit a while and think. Never be afraid to sit a while and think. He goes to the door. How often I have looked at you and said, ah, so this is what the new world hath finally wrought. He exits. Benita sits alone. Presently, Walter enters from his room and starts to rummage through things, feverishly looking for something. She looks up and turns. Benita says, yes, just look at what the new world hath wrought. Just look. She gestures with disgust. There he is, Monsieur le Petit Bourgeois Noir himself. There he is, symbol of a rising class entrepreneur, titan of the system. Walter ignores her completely and continues frantically and destructively looking for something and hurling things to the floor, tearing things out of their place in his search. Benita ignores the eccentricity of his actions and goes on with the monologue. Did you dream of yachts on Lake Michigan, brother? Did you see yourself on that great day sitting down at the conference table surrounded by all the mighty bald-headed men in America, all halted, waiting, breathless, waiting for your pronouncements on industry, waiting for you, chairman of the board? Walter finds what he's looking for, a small piece of white paper, and pushes it in his pocket, puts on his coat, and rushes out without ever having looked at her. She shouts, "I look at you when I see the final triumph of stupidity in the world." The door slams and she returns to just sitting again. Ruth comes quickly out of Mama's room. "Who was that?" "Your husband." "Where did he go?" "Who knows? Maybe he has an appointment at U.S. Steel." Ruth, anxiously and frightened. "You didn't say nothing bad to him, did you?" "Bad? Say anything bad to him? No, I told him he was a sweet boy and full of dreams and everything is strictly peachy keen, as the au fait kids say." Sorry. Mama enters from her bedroom. She's lost, vague, trying to catch hold to make some sense of her former command of the world, but still eludes her. A sense of waste overwhelms her gait. A measure of apology rides on her shoulders. She goes to her plant, which remains on the table, looks at it, picks it up, and takes it to the windowsill and sits it outside. She stands and looks at it in a long moment. Then she closes the window, straightens her body with effort, and turns around to her children. "Well, ain't it a mess in here, though?" False cheerfulness. "I guess we all better stop moping around and get some work done. All this unpacking and everything we got to do." Ruth raises her head slowly in response to the sense of the line, and Beneatha, in similar manner, turns very slowly to look at her mother. "One of you all better call the moving people and tell them not to come." "Tell them not to come," Ruth says. "Of course, baby. Ain't no need in them coming all the way here and having to go back. They charge us for that, too." She sits down, fingers to her brow. "Lord, ever since I was a little girl, I always remember people saying, Lena Eggleston, you aims too high all the time. You needs to slow down and see life a little more like it is. Just slow down some." That's what they always used to say down home. Lord, that Lena Eggleston's a high-minded thing. She'll get her due one day. "No, Lena," Ruth said. "Me and Big Walter just never learn right," Mama says. "Lena, no," Ruth said. "We gotta go. Benny, tell her." She rises and crosses to Beneatha with her arms outstretched. Beneatha doesn't respond. "Tell her we can still move. The notes ain't but $125 a month. We got 4 grown people in this house. We can work." Mama says, "Just aim too high all the time." Ruth turns and goes to Mama, the words pouring out with desperation. "Lena, I'll work 20 hours a day in all the kitchens in Chicago. I'll strap my baby on my back if I have to and scrub all the floors in America and wash all the sheets in America if I have to. We gotta move. We gotta get out of here." Mama reaches out and pats Ruth's hand. "No, I see things differently now. Been thinking about some of the things we could do to fix this place up. I seen a secondhand bureau over on Maxwell Street just the other day that could fit right there." She points out to where the new furniture might go. Ruth wanders away. "Would need some new handles on it and then a little varnish and look something brand new. And we could put up them curtains in the kitchen. Why, this place be looking fine. Cheer us all up so that people that forget the trouble will ever come. And you could get some nice screens to put up in your room around the baby's bassinet." She looks at both of them. "Sometimes you just got to know when to give up some things and hold on to what you got." Okay, so number 1 says, the stage directions at the beginning of the passage describe the atmosphere. At the very beginning, sullen light, gloomy in the living room, gray. Okay, so what do they describe as one of hope, frustration, anger, or disappointment? Then click next. Part 1, Beneatha compares Walter's foolishness in trusting Lily to Mama, to Ruth, to Travis, or to herself. Why do you think Beneatha wants to make that comparison? First of all, excuse me, if it's Travis, which it is, why would she make that comparison? It has something to do with Travis being 11 or 12 years old. Think about it. Part 5. As she talks to Asagai, why does Beneatha have a change of heart about being a doctor? She's no longer interested in school. She wants to marry Asagai. She doesn't think she would be a good doctor, or she loses hope for humanity. Card 6. Asagai talks about being an idealist, which he describes as someone who doesn't like money, will not give up, dislikes violence, or refuses to leave home. And card 7, now that the money is gone, what has Mama decided to do? Do you agree or disagree with her decision? Once you have put that in several complete sentences, you're going to hit hand in and you are finished. As usual, if there are any questions, please hit me up on Talking Points or through Schoology and email. I hope that you guys have a great rest of the day. I will see you in class.